Well, tēnā koutou, kia ora. Good afternoon, everyone. Last week when I became leader, I said we were resetting and that the National Party was back. We would be a government of action, not of spin and PR. I said that we would be a new national for New Zealand with a fresh and energised and an alternative government ready to deliver for Kiwis in 2023. I also said that politics is the ultimate team sport and that we would fully utilise and leverage all the complementary skills and abilities and experiences of our talented, experienced and competent caucus. The lineup I'm announcing today is based on performance and it also best matches people to their strengths and their skill sets. I have deliberately selected a shadow cabinet of 20 members to match the government's cabinet. I'm confident that when you put any of our team up against their Labour counterparts, person on person, you'll see that the national MPs have the deep experience, they have the political skills and the work ethic and the intellectual grunt to come out on top. It is also the expectation of my team that they will oppose the spin-heavy and PR-driven government, but that they will also propose constructive plans to solve some of our most intractable problems. I've been very clear that every national MP has a significant role to play as part of our unified, high-performing team. You will have noticed that everyone outside the shadow cabinet is in fact not ranked, and the reason is very simple. It makes no sense and it's largely irrelevant, because performance in the portfolio matters much, much more than any ranking. And we frankly expect any portfolio leader in our lineup to take it to the relevant minister and make the case to the New Zealand public. So in closing, I feel very positive about this lineup. I will be leading a refreshed, a talented and a high-performance team. And with that, I'm very happy to take any of your questions. Jessica. Well, look, fundamentally, Judith is, as I said, we would use all the talents of everybody in our caucus. Judith has a real passion for the portfolio that she's been offered there in terms of research, science, innovation and technology. She cares very deeply about it and she's going to be absolutely brilliant doing it.
What's the thing with Todd Muller? He was out again and again. Is he in or out now?
So Todd left our caucus. He now is wanting to caucus with us again, which is fantastic. And I've assigned responsibilities for him. He's excited to be back and we're pleased to have him back. Those are decisions ultimately for him to make personally. Sorry?
Isn't that important though, he decided where he is on the rankings? Because if he's planning on going at the next election, why give him a spot?
No, because everybody, as I said from the get-go, has something to offer our team. Todd is a guy that has huge abilities and experiences. He's been assigned responsibilities. I know he wants to come back and be part of our team, and we're going to move forward on that basis. Sorry, Barry?
How difficult was it for you as a new leader, knowing these people well enough to give them these responsibilities?
Well, what I'd say is over the last 12 months, I've seen and observed and watched these people up close. The fact that they've selected me as their leader, we know each other well, and I've been able to see where their strengths and where their real expertise lies. And I think if you go through the logic of how we've ended up with people on those assignments, I think it's pretty clear. So to be honest, from my point of view, the message has been clear. We'll use everybody. I've watched people who have been ranked lowly perform fantastically against ministers over this last 12 months that I've been here, and I've got every confidence our team will do that.
One of your more experienced MPs is Todd McCrae. He was a minister, of course, of the key government, and he's outside the cabinet.
Yes, and Todd's a total professional. He's got great expertise around trade and export, and he's also been, knows tourism well. I want to lift our game big time on tourism. I think it's an industry that's been really structurally challenged. I have deep connections with that portfolio as well. But fundamentally, Todd's going to be really good. The reality of this is 33 into 20 doesn't go, and so yes, there'll be people that might be slightly disappointed about that. But I can tell you, having spoken to Todd this morning, he's a total professional. Will do really great.
Tourism is so important, though. Why not have it in the cabinet?
Well, tourism is important, and there's lots of portfolios in here that are very important. And each of those individuals, I'm confident, can actually prosecute their case incredibly well.
Is giving Judith Collins the ranking of 19, showing her the respect that she deserves?
Yes, I think so. I think Judith has, as I said, got a lot of really great skills. She's a very experienced person. She's got a lot to offer us as our team, and I can tell you, Judith is very satisfied with that, and I am too.
But looking at this reshuffle as a whole, is it a case of keeping your friends close and enemies closer?
No, what this is about is fundamentally saying we want a refreshed, talented, hard-working, performance-driven team. And I think if you look, say, even if you took the top 12 and you lined it up, I think the New Zealand public are going to say that's a different team, that's a different lineup, that looks fresh, new and different and highly capable. Claire?
Has Judith Clarence confirmed to you that she doesn't think the next election and stand at the next election given she's in your shadow cabinet?
We haven't had those conversations. That Judith will make those decisions in her own course about what she wants to do for 2023 and beyond. But her intention, as I understand it, she's carrying on in 2023, and that's fantastic. No, because because in the vision of performance, we will, in 12 months' time, have another little review inside ourselves to say who's been performing, who's been firing, who hasn't, and we'll look at it then. Sorry.
How did the negotiations for these portfolios go? Did MPs select what they wanted, or were they told what they wanted?
No, I actually called each and every individual, and talked to them about the justification for why I wanted them to do that work and do that portfolio. And they were, again, very productive, constructive conversations. You have to understand, from last Tuesday, we have had a hard reset. Everybody understands we're playing this as a team, and we're going to use the skills and abilities of everybody in it. And as a result, the conversations have been very positive, very constructive. People get it.
They weren't asked, they were told.
We basically said, I've made the assessment, discussed it, their portfolio with them, told them why I wanted them to do it, and also explained where I wanted to see improvement or performance. Sorry, Jason.
What does this mean for governments in the next election? You're going to have to make some decisions around the ACT Party. Are you amenable to be giving them something like the finance portfolio or something very top-heavy?
Well, I can tell you right now, almost a week into this job, my focus is on rebuilding the National Party and making it as strong as it can be to make a case to the New Zealand people that you can trust us as a strong, viable alternative government.
But to get to a stronger national level, you're going to have to eat away at some of that ACT Party support. Is that something that you're looking
I can tell you all I'm focused on now is making sure National is the very, very best that it can be. Yes, ma'am. Sorry? It's a very deliberate move on my behalf because as the leader, I'm really across all portfolios and I want to be able to float and I want to be able to go support my colleagues where they need support. And so my job as the leader is to get the best out of each individual, to make sure the combinations are working incredibly well and the clusters of portfolio work, and I want to be able to have the flexibility to be able to do that.
And are you confident that science and research, that portfolio will be enough to keep Judith Collins busy, that she won't cause trouble?
Absolutely. Yep. So absolutely. I can tell you Judith is deeply passionate about that subject area. She's she's looked on that work before. She's curious about it. She's going to be absolutely brilliant at it. Yes, mate. I had discussions with people close to me like Nicola, like Simon Bridges. Yes, Joe. No.
In terms of just following up on Ben's question there, I mean, did you consult with other people, for example, Sir John Key, Bill English, Stephen Joyce, did you ask those people
No.
who worked with the likes of some of your caucus?
No. Henry. Sorry? I think if you look at, there's three people that I think have made, very, very good improvements over this run, and that's a very deliberate attempt to do what I said I would do, which is, reward performance. Erica Stanford's done an outstanding job, on immigration. Again, getting back to the rankings point, it doesn't matter how she was ranked previously. She managed to put Chris Farfoy under immense pressure, and I think the public would say I'd want Erica Stanford as the minister, not Chris Farfoy. I think Simeon Brown did an outstanding job prosecuting the case on gangs and law and order, and I think the other one who's done an exceptionally good job is Matt Ducey around mental health. I want mental health to be a big play for the National Party going forward. That's decided tomorrow in caucus. We go through an election process, obviously for Chief Whip and Junior Whip, and that will be confirmed tomorrow. No, that's a decision for the caucus, and I want to be crystal clear about that. That's an election, not an appointment. Sorry. Yeah, so you've touched on a key point, and I've been very upfront about that even over the weekend to say, look, We had a more diverse candidate list going into 2020 than we ended up with in caucus because we had a terrible election result. And so we don't have the connection into the Pacifica community that I want to have. Shane Retty, when having spoken with people in the community, they feel that he is a great representative of the National Party and will be able to be accepted in that community. Having said all of that, what I've got to tell you is there's a hang of a lot of work to make sure that we actually are building a national party that gets to all communities, and that means we have more work to do on diversity. It's just because really Shane has huge standing, he's got great mana, and he's a very dignified individual, and he connects well with the Pacific community. Henry. Yeah, that's what we've got to do, ultimately. We've got to build a more robust party. When you go back through the history of this party, we are always at our best when we have the moderate liberal, moderate conservative traditions in the leadership, and we also have fundamentally a national party. It was founded on that, and it means that we're going to take our centre-right politics and principles into every community, and we've got to do a lot of work on that, and we've got to do a lot of genuine work to get it into the bloodstream of the party. Sorry, Jessica. Well, what I'd say to you is fundamentally, as I said to you, we are going to win back the rural communities across New Zealand. Barbara Kuriger has done an exceptionally good job when you talk to, and I've spoken again to the rural community leaders and different industry groups about her performance. She's been exceptional and she's incredibly well received. Equally, we've got talent like Nicola Grigg sitting with Barbara, working on many of those portfolios as well. The combination of that will be excellent. Yes, but I can tell you right now, again, Nicola's not sitting at 30. That's unranked from 20 down. All I've done is, it's basically seniority when they came into year and an alphabet size. But please don't read that as a rank because it's not how we're thinking about it.
In politics, you come in and it's the most hierarchical place you've been. Everyone is ranked, and that's reflected all. So how can we not?
So what I'm telling you is we're doing things different because I'm not from politics world. I'm coming from a world where we build things on performance, not on hierarchy. Yep. Yes, I am. I think, you could come at it and cut it a lot of different ways around gender, around Māori, around regional dispersal, all those sorts of things. But fundamentally, as I've said before, I think there's a lot more that we could be doing in building more diversity into the National Party. I've been very upfront from that, even as a candidate. And having built organisations that were non-diverse and ended up being highly diverse, it's quite possible, but we've got work to do.
Yeah, on those front two, your front benches, top 9, is it?
Well, if I look at the top 10, for example, yep.
So 4 of 10.
Yeah, 40% women, 20% Māori, agriculture represented strongly in there with Barbara and her leadership of a very strong rural caucus. But again, I want to see diversity become a stronger piece of the National Party going forward. Jason?
And why do you not think defence as a cabinet portfolio?
As I said, there's lots of reasons you'll sit there and say, why are certain portfolios not in or out of that number 20 position? And I have every confidence that Tim van der Molen is going to prosecute the case very well from defence within our caucus. Sorry, Jason.
Could you give us a steer on what your thoughts are on board level? Simon Bridges was very clear when he was doing his press conference, I think it was last week, that he was looking at a bit of a reset, especially maybe potentially towards the president. How is that sitting with you?
Sorry, with respect to the National Party board? Those are decisions for the board.
But you must have a perspective.
I can be really honest with it. Those are decisions for the board. And as a new leader, I'm obviously I will join that board in due course and play my role as a director as well as leader of this party. Sorry, mate.
This reshuffling will actually unite the National Party with 3 former leaders now in the party group, as well as Jack Denham probably being expected to turn up performance as well.
Look, I can tell you, after Tuesday and the events of Tuesday with an uncontested leadership transition, there is a huge desire to turn the page, not just a desire, it's happening. Even in this last week, all our MPs have been out and about across their constituencies. I was in Thames on Saturday, I was in Auckland on Friday, travelling through the country. I can tell you, we're getting people wanting to reach out and reconnect with our party, that missing 413,000 that we want back, that is starting to happen. So our MPs are feeling pretty energised, if I'm really honest with you, because they're getting direct feedback from the public and from our members that we're doing the right thing here. Jessica? Absolutely, yeah. Jackie Dean has got a great role. She carries on as assistant speaker and conservation. I spoke to Jackie. Our thoughts are with her, particularly with a case that's before the courts at the moment. But she's fantastic. Sorry, I'll just go to Jessica.
You've had a few days in the job now. Talking about the pace of things, is it easier being the leader of the opposition than it was being chief executive of anything or other jobs that you've had? Are you finding the pace pretty easy?
Well, it's pretty full on. Initially, in the first period of time, as you'd understand, I mean, you don't always have the supporting structures in place. We're working very hard in terms of an NLO team that will get some high quality people to join us in that space. And again, we're going to get the structure of that right. Then we'll get the right people in place, and then we'll get that sorted. Likewise, you're still working through your caucus lineup, and then dealing with you guys in the media is always a challenge for that first week anyway. So, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. I mean. I'm someone who needs to be wired, ready to go 24/7. So this is fantastic. Sorry.
How will national policy be shaped by the creation of the social investment portfolio in addition to the social development and employment plan?
Yeah, so I'm pleased you pulled that out. I've actually asked Nicola to lead social investment thinking because, as you know, Bill English did some really good theory around that, and I think we now need to move it into practice. And it actually touches a lot of our portfolios: education, obviously social development, justice, and ultimately finance and infrastructure as well. So I've actually asked Nicola to lead that and actually move that from theory into action, because I think that is, social investment, education, sustainability, and productivity in the economy. These are things that I want to put edge to and definition to. Sorry, can I just go to Joe? Sorry.
Those terms sound great, but they also do sound like buzzwords. So what is...
I don't think education's a buzzword or infrastructure. Well, climate change, clearly. But what I mean by that is that social investment is... I'm a big fan of it, and I like the idea of targeted support to help people who are leading challenged and messy and complex lives. If it means we surge investment to them in order so they can step up and participate in the New Zealand dream, that's exactly what we've got to do. And so, but I want to move it from theory into practice, and so that's why I've asked Nicola to lead that for us. Sorry, can I just go to Joe?
You said that you were going to do things differently, but you haven't brought any of your own class of 2020 up with you. They're all still sitting down in that sort of bottom pile. What was the decision-making process around that?
Well, what I'd say to you is that class of 2020 is a pretty talented bunch of people. They've come to this parliament having done some pretty phenomenal things outside. I actually think, when you look at Penny Simmons with all her expertise in tertiary education, when you look at Simon Watts with his understanding of finance and his work in healthcare, but predominantly in the economic space and finance space, there's a huge talent there. So, for example, well, again, I'm not interested. I believe fundamentally that Simon Watts, as a new MP, unranked, just remember it's unranked, is going to be able to prosecute local government and Three Waters in exactly the same way I could, sitting at number 31 or whatever I was. So I don't come through the lens of the rankings per se. It's not that important to me. What is important is best players on the assignment, delivering for us, opposing, proposing, and Simon will do that well.
And just coming back to Jason's question about the board, how are you going to have any change there if you're not prepared to go into those board meetings and actually demand some change? Because the board's not going to fire themselves.
I haven't joined a board meeting yet, and what I can tell you is those will be conversations for the board, and we'll work our way through that.
You're going to go in there with a hard line and say you want to see some change take place in that climate?
I want the National Party to be relevant to New Zealanders. I want 1 in 2 people to consider us their party to vote for, and we need to continue to do the work here in the caucus. We need to do the work in our political management, and we need to continue to do the work in the board. I can tell you, I want the National Party to continue to evolve, and that's all I have. Sorry, go to Thomas. Sorry.
On your policy platform, are you committed to the policies that your previous leader was committed to, like stuff like repealing the 39% tax rate, et cetera, or are you sort of drawing a line?
Well, look, I mean, we've been very fortunate. Louise Upston, supported by Nicola, have done some really good initial thinking around what we called the 8 big fixes, and we were doing work in caucus subcommittees around the policy stuff. I don't think it's a matter of we turn the page and start from a blank piece. I actually think we've got some good material to work with. I'll take the summer to reflect on exactly how we want to take our policy development forward, but I think we've got the starting of something good. I just will want to sharpen it up and focus on a few things bigger and better.
Does that mean that all the previous policy positions? Just a handful of strict policy positions are kind of in a bit of...
No, everything stays as it is, but what I say is I'm shaping out for 2023, making sure we focus on the things that really genuinely matter most. Sometimes we've been a little bit all over the place, not all over the place in a policy sense, but we've been focused on many things. I want to focus on fewer things and really get solutions there. Luke?
Climate change has been a bit of a difficult area for the National Party the past few years. Could you tell us a bit about Scott Simpson's appointment to climate change, and also what you see your role as leader being in shaping the party's climate change?
Yeah, well, look, what I'd say to you is my assessment of climate change here in New Zealand is that you have a Labour government that makes declarations but actually doesn't deliver climate change. You know, emissions have gone up. We've got more coal than we've ever had. We've got lower levels of renewable electricity. And so you can talk about a bumper sticker and a declaration, but you're not actually following it through. My observation of the Green Party is that it's become less focused on the environment in recent years than what it historically was. If I look at the UK Conservative Party and the position that it's built with respect to climate change, I think that has used centre-right politics and principles to be able to advance climate change really well. If you're in the UK, you tend to vote, if you're concerned about the environment, you vote for the Conservative Party. And I don't think there's a reason. We are the people that fundamentally can say, here's the challenges, and here's the plan by which we're going to deliver and improve that. And I want us to get into the management and the plan delivery of climate change.
You want the National Party to be the party of the environment?
I want it to be a part of what we do, because we actually have some really big challenges in that space, and that and we actually have to go to those problems and actually deal with them and actually develop the solutions and plans to do that. And we can uniquely do that as a party.
Does that signify a bit of a softening? Appointing Scott Simpson, does that signify a bit of a softening? Because Stuart Smith was not particularly respected by his opposites.
Oh, look.
Seemed to be anti almost everything. Scott Simpson, who previously proceeded, has already had the climate change portfolio for quite a period, was much more conciliatory.
Well, I can tell you Scott Simpson gets what I'm thinking about, which is, take a steer from the UK Conservative Party to give you a feel for the direction of travel would be my big point at this point. The second thing I'd say is that Scott chairs our Blue Greens group, which is a part that both Simon Watts and I have joined and been very passionate about since we've come here as well. And I think he will deliver the clean, clear thinking that is needed to actually navigate climate change, so we get beyond just the words and the emotion of it, and we actually deliver outcomes really hard. Sorry, can you say that again?
Have you hired a chief of staff yet, and is Mike Todd?
All I can tell you is we've had a lot of very good people who are very keen to join a new reset national party.
And
we'll work our way through that.
Indigenous people have been leading in climate change.
Sorry?
Indigenous people have been leading in climate change, so why would you say to go and get your director from the UK instead of going to Māori here?
Oh, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all, because you're right. A lot of the answers for climate change solutions here in New Zealand lie in Tau Māori, no doubt about it. What I'm saying to you in a political sense, the way that a centre-right party can legitimately talk about.
So then how will he do that with Māori, and how?
We will have deep engagement with Māori, and we need to build back those connections, and we need to, to be able to do that. Okay, last question.
Tomorrow you've got the ultimate showdown with the Prime Minister in the House.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
What is the game plan?
I haven't had oral questions with the Prime Minister before. I'm sure it's going to be another new experience to add to the last week. I'm just fired up, ready to go.
Can I ask that question to Nicola? Just with your leader mentioned that he was going to float and just have the sort of minimal portfolios. Why have you taken on such big portfolios as the deputy leader? Will that give you enough breathing space?
I love hard work, Jess. Always have, always will. And these two portfolios are really important for New Zealand and for National, and I'm excited to have the opportunity to keep working on them.
Did you fight to keep that housing portfolio? Was that yours?
She didn't have to fight, because fundamentally, who do you want as your housing minister? Minister Woods or Minister Willis? And it's a pretty no-brainer decision. And it was a specific ask from me about taking on social investment, as we talked about before. Hey, listen, thank you very much. We'll go prepare for the rest of the day. Can I say thank you for coming along? And we'll see you through the course of the week. Take care.